Hello guys, my name is Shubham Bhundre, an aspiring data analyst with 3.5 plus years of experience in this data field. And along with my analytical skills, I have also strengthened my skills in automation tools like N8N, Make, Power Automate. Automation helps you to automate your repetitive tasks or say boring tasks like sending email alerts, generating workflow triggers, etc. so that you can invest and focus more of your time in the actual interesting work. Here, my project is based on N8N automation tool. The core focus of my automation pipeline is to extract data from unstructured files like JPG, PDF, PNG, etc. and store the metadata into the Google Sheets. So first of all, let me explain you my project in detail. Let's say in your Google Drive there is a folder named inverse data extraction, and in that folder there are multiple files like PNG files, PDF file, etc. You can also consider this folder as your data warehouse. And since as we all know that data warehouse contains structured as well as unstructured data. So similarly here there are PNG files, PDF files, etc. And as you can see in PDF file there are certain data like description, unit, gadget B, etc., quantity, unit price in PDF file. Similarly in PNG file there are also items, quantity, unit price, price amount, total, etc. Basically an entire receipt of bill. And you want to store all this metadata, description, quantity, unit price, amount in your Google Sheet. You will make two sheets, invoice details and invoice items, and you have to paste invoice details in the invoice detail sheets and the invoice items in the invoice item sheet. So instead of manually copying all the data and pasting it in the Google Sheet, it will take a lot of time and it's kind of a boring task as well. So I'm going to use N8N here. This is the N8N dashboard as you can see on the screen, and here I will create pipeline which will extract the data from the data warehouse, and it will paste all the necessary metadata into the Google Sheets. So the first node I am going to use here is the trigger manually node, since I am going to manually run the entire workflow. So click on the plus icon here, and as you can see here is the trigger manually node. Runs the flow on clicking a button in N8N. Good for getting started quickly. So the node is added here. So my next node will be to go to Google Drive folder, since all my PDF and PNG files are in the Google Drive. So here I will search Google Drive, and in Google Drive I want to go for search files and folders. It will search the desired file and the desired folder there. Here I am going to add Google credentials and the location of the folder, the files that I am going to extract from that particular folders. So here I have to connect my N8N with the Google Drive, and here you can enter credentials and the client ID, client API, so that the N8N can get easily connect with the Google Drive. I have entered all the required credentials so that it can get easily connected with the Google Drive folder, and then here the resource file is selected, operation is search, and the search method is search file and folder name. It is obvious, and return all. Basically it will return all the available files that are present in that folder. Add folder, and now here I have to select the name. Since the name of my folder is invoice data extraction, I have to search for invoice data extraction. And now all I have to click on is execute setup. So as you can see, after executing the step, it has given me all the files that are available in the required folder. 3 PDF files and 2 PNG files. As you can see, there are 3 PDF files and 2 PNG files. So the first step is executed perfectly. Now back to canvas. Now generally what should be my next step? Since I have searched all the files and folders, it is obvious that I will download the files, right? wrong, since there are multiple files like PNG files and PDF file. So I have to run the process for all the files, not only one file. So here I have to add a loop over item node. So the loop over item node will basically run the entire workflow for all the files, not one single file, for all the files. So let me add here. As you can see, it is clearly written here, iterate over each batch. And the batch size would be 1. Okay, execute step. So currently it has taken only one file, and similarly if I continuously run the workflow, it will take all the 5 files. So my next step here is to add the download file node. Google Drive download file node. Credentials are connected, the resources file, operation is download, and from list I have to just drag and drop here. It's created, execute step. And as you can see, it has successfully downloaded one file. And you all know that why it has downloaded only one file, because the loop over items only process one file at a time. Back to canvas. Okay, so after download node, the next step will be to extract information here. But there is one issue. As you can see, there are PDF files and PNG files. In PDF files you can simply copy the data and extract information, but in PNG files you cannot copy the data, like it will throw you some error. You cannot directly copy the data. So for PDF files I want a different pipeline, and for PNG files I want a different pipeline there. So for that I need to add a switch node here. Switch node will basically connect with the PNG with the PNG pipeline and the PDF for the PDF pipeline. After adding all the parameters of the switch node, let me execute the step. This code here basically means if my extension, let's say the extension here, as you can see, it's .pdf, .png, right? So if my extension is .png, then it will rename the output to PNG. Similarly, if the extension is .pdf, I have used a delimiter here, then it will rename the output to PDF. Now since I have a PDF file here, okay, .pdf, so let me execute the step here. And see, since the previous node had PDF file, it has given me PDF 1 item here. So the node has executed successfully. Now it's time for me to create branches, 2 different branches for both PNG and PDF file. I am going to start with PDF file. So click plus, extract information, extract from file, convert binary data to JSON, and extract from PDF file, since I am doing it for PDF pipeline here. Extract from PDF data. Okay, it is done. Execute step. So from this PDF file 1000.pdf, it has extracted all the data. But as you can see here clearly, I am not able to understand this text. Like, what is it? Bioplex, we love chemistry. I don't understand what this data is exactly. So to understand this data, I am going to use an AI agent here, which will extract the metadata from all this data. And before using AI agent, I am going to use an information extractor node, so that it will be easier for the AI model to understand the data. So click on plus, information extractor. Now here I have to give the text. Here basically the text means in which format I want the data. So in this text I will copy this text, and now here I have to select the schema type, generate from JSON example. As you can see, there is a default code here, and I will give my personal code here, and I want that data to be in that particular format. And since I don't know what the code should be here, so I will take help from ChatGPT. Now after pasting the code from the ChatGPT here, it's time for me to execute the step. So let me execute it. And after executing it, throw me an error. Problem in node information extractor. A model subnode must be connected and enabled. As you can see, I have not connected a model subnode here. Basically, it is working without a brain, so I have to provide a brain to it. And the brain here would be Gemini, Google Gemini chat model. And I have to, enter the credentials here. So let me do the setup here. So now I have given a brain to the model here. Google Gemini chat model is the brain through which it can extract the data. So now let me go to information extractor here, and now let me execute the step again. See, it has given me the perfect output as I needed. Invoice number is properly mentioned here, invoice date is properly mentioned here, and every other thing, quantity 100, description is properly mentioned. So using the Gemini chat model, which is basically the LLM brain of the information extractor, it is executed successfully here. Now after extracting the data, it is obvious that I am going to paste the data in the Google Sheets, which is my this sheet. So let me add the Google Sheet here. Google Sheets, and Google Sheets append or update row in a sheet. Here I have to add all the credentials here, so let me add that first. Now after adding all the Google Sheet credentials, it's time for me to map the data. So the resources sheet will document from list. From list basically means from which file we have to extract the data. It is basically invoice data extraction, and sheet is basically where do I want to paste the data. Since I have two sheets here, invoice details and invoice items. So sheet invoice details. Here I have to map each column manually. Okay. So after refreshing the code, I am going to see all the columns that are available in my Google Sheets here. Invoice number, date, billing company address, email, etc. So I have to map it manually here. So invoice number is basically invoice number. I have to just drag and drop simply. Let total here. Now it's time for me to execute the step. Now as you can see, invoice number, date is perfect, billing company name and all that is perfect. So let me go to Google Sheet and let's see if the data is appended or not. So as you can see here, it is appended successfully here. Customer name is correct, billing company phone has error, total amount 6610. Okay, so the data is almost perfect. And for billing company phone number, let me see. So billing company 4 here, it is expression plus 33140. So instead of simple numbers, it has added as an expression, and since expression doesn't work like that, I have to convert it into a string. In this code I have to add a string so that it can paste it as a string here in this column. So I have converted the phone number into a string value. As you can see here, I have added the string here, and now I have deleted the previous row. Now let me run it again. Now let's see if the phone number issue is fixed or not. Not executed successfully. It's time for the truth. Hooray, it has worked perfectly fine here. Invoice number is perfect, date, billing company, phone number is also perfect here, total amount, tax, etc. So this node has executed successfully. The PDF pipeline has been successfully created. Now it's time for me to make a pipeline for the PNG. But let me tell you one thing here. In PDF files, you know, it can be copied, the data can be copied easily, and in some PDF files the data cannot be copied. As you can see, I'm trying to drag the data but it is not able to copy. And in PNG files, when I try to copy the data, it is unable to copy. So basically these are optical characters, and to extract the data from such PNG files I have to use an optical character recognition API. When I add that optical character recognition API, basically it is an HTTP request node. So the request node, what will do is it will extract the PNG file, and it will extract the optical characters from that PNG file, and it will convert that data into readable text format. So let me show you. So now it's time for me to connect the HTTP request node for the PNG file. So since the pipeline for PNG goes through here, I will click plus here and type HTTP request, make an HTTP request, and here I have to provide the API for the OCR website link, and let me fulfill all the parameters here. Now let's open the HTTP request node and let's see what are all the parameters that it is asking for. So when I open the HTTP request node, it is basically to use the API here. API is basically, with the help of API key, you can access all the services of a particular website. And since I'm going to use OCR here, optical character recognition API, because I have to extract the data from the PNG files, so I have to go to free OCR API, and when I do all the signing up of my email here, I will get URL and API key here, and I'm going to copy the URL and the API key and paste it in the URL input CURL section here. So let me fill all the parameters here. As you can see, I have received the OCR API key on my email, and now it's time for me to go to the other page, and since I'm going to post the data, I will click on post parameters here, and after clicking on post parameter, you can read URL file base64 image. Since all the images in the base64 format, I will click on base64 encoded string, and here we have the CURL command line, import CURL. So we have to select, there are three options A, B and C, and we are going to use the C option, send image as string in base64 format. Since the PNG is in a image kind of type, so we have to convert that image in a string. So let me copy the code here and paste in the import CURL section, import. Now it's asking for API key and all that. API key I will copy from my email ID. Now after filling all the parameters, it's time for me to execute the step. I have filled all the parameters of the HTTP request, and before executing the step, I can see that the HTTP request is connected to the loop over items here. So even if the PNG data gets extracted, it will still loop the same PNG file again and again. So the connection here is wrong, so I have to delete this connection here, and I have to connect the Google Sheet with loop over items, because I want to loop each and every item, each and every files that are present here into the Google Sheet here. So I will connect the Google Sheet to the loop over items here, and HTTP request to the Google Sheets here. I have executed the HTTP request step, and as you can see, I am getting error here, and the error here is not a valid base64 image. So I have to recheck again with the help of ChatGPT and think how can I fix this issue. The issue here was that I have added an unintentional space. So after removing that space, let me execute the step again, and let's see if it works or not. So the node has executed successfully, but I'm still getting error here, not a valid base64 image. Okay. I took help from the chat GPT and changed some parameters here, and after executing the step I got the desired results here. Okay, now so back to canvas. After fixing all the errors of the HTTP request, let me rename this to OCR because it is OCR. So after fixing all the parameters of OCR, it's time for me to connect this step to the information extractor step. And at the information extractor step, I have to do some changes. So this was for PDF files, so I have to do this for PNG files now. So in the OCR step, I have to copy the parse text and paste it here. So though it is green, so it has been connected successfully here to the information extractor step. As I have shown you earlier that there are some PDF files. Let's say for example in this PDF file, uh, it can be easily copied like this and pasted in the Google Sheet. But there are some PDF files which act as a image file. Like see, I cannot copy here. So after extracting the file, I have to put an if condition, like if there are such PDF files through which we cannot copy the data, it should go to the OCR. So after extract from file step, I have to add an if statement here. If node, sorry. I am setting a condition here. If the text here is empty is equal to is empty, then it should pass the value. Node executed successfully. So if the condition is true, means if the text is empty, then it should go to OCR step. And if the condition is false, means if the text is not empty, it should go to information extractor. The procedure for the sheet 1 is completed. Example, the invoice detail sheet procedure is completed, but now I have to do the same with the invoice item sheet, which is a sheet number 2. So I have to add another sheet here, Google Sheets, append or update row in a sheet, and here I have to add all the credentials for the sheet 2 here. So let me do all the steps here. Before adding the data in sheet 2, we can see here that the column names are different here: invoice number, date, item name, quantity, unit price, total. Invoice details have this number of columns and invoice items have this number of columns. So what I've done here is I have used a split out node. Split out node basically will split all the items quantity in one column. So after executing the step, it will give you the data in this format, like description, quantity, unit price, total, and all the values in a single column. Now my entire pipeline has been created and I have cross-checked each and every node and re-rectified if everything is correct or not. And I have also deleted all the data from the Google Sheets. So the invoice detail sheet is empty and the invoice item sheet is empty. So now it's time for me to execute the workflow and let's see if the data gets append or not. So I have started executing the workflow. I have 5 files, 3 PDF files and 2 PNG files. So let's see if all the data gets append there or not. Two items have been appended yet, third item is going on. Fourth item is going on. Fifth item is going on. Workflow executed successfully. So let me open the sheet and let's see. Okay, the invoice items have been all been added here, and the invoice details have also been added here. So the entire pipeline is working successfully.